This week we're looking at starting a new series, and it's a little bit different to some of the other series I've been involved with. Like I said, I stole it off someone else. In this series, I'm interested in starting up a revolution. Hey, and I know probably I'm not particularly cut out for creating a revolution because I've not done one before. I don't have a big moustache. I don't speak with an Eastern European accent. I'm kind of wondering why. Maybe it's midlife crisis. I don't know. But I think we ought to start taking this seriously over the next 4 weeks anyway. Creating a revolution. You up for it? I mean, you guys are easy. I normally had to I can go home now, actually. Oh, dear. PPF. That might be the next. Anyway, but I thought, I'd like to see if we can try something that can change our community, even perhaps change our church. But we'll take one step at a time. But the thing that's got me thinking about this and along these lines is actually earlier on in the year, about March, I think it was, I went to the Life Conference, the Life Church Conference in South Auckland there. And I went because I was interested in hearing this guy speak. It's a guy called Paul Scanlon, and he was from Abundant Life Centre in Bradford. So he's an English fella. And what he was talking about was this challenge that he'd given to his church. It was called the 15 Revolution. And what it was all about was taking 15 minutes of each day and saying, right, the challenge was, take 15 minutes where you inconvenience yourself for someone else. So, for example, you see someone who needs to be walked across the street and you're busy, just take the time out, stop and walk the lady across the street, if it's a lady. It may be just seeing someone and giving them a smile. It doesn't necessarily need to be 15 minutes. It wasn't like it's not like you do 14 minutes and, I failed today. It might only be 15 seconds, but actually getting intentional about blessing other people. Smiling at someone, giving someone a compliment, noticing, including someone who's not normally included. And some of you that say, well, that's not really that much of a big deal, Nick, I can handle that. Well, actually, it's a bit tricky. I've been trying a little bit over the last couple of the last couple of weeks when I thought, oh gosh, I've got this series coming up. But as I've been trying, it's actually a lot harder than you think. Like a few days ago, I was driving up, I had an appointment to meet with someone, and I was, kind of cutting it a bit fine. And as I went past, I saw a hitchhiker, and I saw this guy, and I thought, oh, because normally when you're going up towards Snell's Beach, they kind of sit in that really awkward corner where if you stop for them, you'd get run into. This guy wasn't there. He was actually in a spot where I could stop, and I thought, I could pick up this guy. And of course, as you're thinking, and then the thought connects, a bit late now, and I could turn back. But I got to meet this guy. And then probably a few minutes later down the track, I thought, hang on, you're supposed to be teaching on the 15-minute revolution. Anyway, but the worst thing is, I finally got to where I was going, and the guy, he couldn't make it. So I was like, Anyway, there's a lesson in that. But it is tricky. Some of the youth group guys, they've started on it already, and they're saying the same kind of thing. Sometimes you need to be prepared to be nice to people. Anyway, it's actually really difficult to get intentional about this kind of stuff. So I thought over the next 4 weeks anyway, we as a church just want to throw the challenge out there, see if it bounces back or see if you catch it. Whether you decide to intentionally take up this challenge, to take 15 minutes of the day, think about it, at the end of the day, think, okay, what did I do? What was that 15 minutes? And start noting them down. We've actually got these books here. These specially covered books, so we spend no expense for you guys. I haven't told the home group leaders yet, but if what would be ideal, if you grab one of these books if you're a home group leader, and just 10 minutes in your home group, just talk about some of your experiences and start noting them down. Because what I'm really looking for is stories. Like next week, if I've got some stories, I'll just kind of rabbit a few off. It doesn't need to be anything super major. I just met someone at the supermarket, and they were looking a bit lost, and I helped them find where the frozen peas were, or whatever it is. But just that kind of thing. And the thing with this is, just something to take in the mix anyway. If you're a home group leader, or just come and grab those books off Marie there, and give it a crack. But the focus though is in this particular series. I'm not really focusing on evangelism. We're not doing this so we can get more people in the church. Well, we are, but that's not what our focus is. You know what I mean by that? Because often when we kind of go with an evangelistic, if we're doing nice things just so people come to church, I mean it's not love. If we bless people and we love people just for who they are, who God created them to be, and then let God work through that, that's fine. Now, I'm not saying if someone, in the process of talking with someone, they say, look, I want to say the sinner's prayer and commit my life to Jesus, go for it. Do that. Yes, that's great. If someone says, why are you doing this? And you say, my pastor's on this stupid thing and I'm just trying to humour him to keep him happy. Say, and they say, well, I'd like to come along to the church. Look, you've got my permission to bring them along. It's good. It's a good thing. But the focus I want to really push this week is love. Or the next 4 weeks is love. Actually acting out in love, blessing other people without kind of expecting stuff in return. And that is a challenge for us as Christians. Because many of our lives, we get so busy. We get so focused on other things. We don't always notice the people around us, do we? Because we've got to get the things done and the stuff done. Some of us might even be like this guy on this clip here I've got. You got that ready to go? You gone live?
This is a story about a man named Harold Crick and his wristwatch. Harold Crick was a man of infinite numbers, endless calculations and remarkably few words. And his wristwatch said even less. Every weekday, for 12 years, Harold would brush each of his 32 teeth 76 times. 38 times back and forth, 38 times up and down. Every weekday, for 12 years, Harold would tie his tie in a single Windsor knot instead of the double, thereby saving up to 43 seconds. His wristwatch thought the single Windsor made his neck look fat, but said nothing. Every weekday for 12 years, Harold would run at a rate of nearly 57 steps per block for 6 blocks, barely catching the 8:17 Kronecker bus. His wristwatch would delight in the feeling of the crisp wind rushing over its face. And every weekday for 12 years, Harold would review 7.134 tax files as a senior agent for the Internal Revenue Service.
Rec section 1.469-2BI. Thanks.
Harold, 89 times 1,417.
126,113.
That adds up.
Only taking a 45.7-minute lunch break and a 4.3-minute coffee break, timed precisely by his wristwatch.
Oh, great. Yeah, we'll go to Mullins, or we'll...
Beyond that, Harold lived a life of solitude. He would walk home alone. He would eat alone. And at precisely 11:13 every night, Harold would go to bed alone, placing his wristwatch to rest on the nightstand beside him.